On the morning of 1st of November 1755, Lisbon was one of Europe's richest port cities, crowded with churches, palaces, and Atlantic trade. The date was All Saints' Day, so many residents were already heading to Mass when the disaster began. Contemporary descriptions portray a city of wealth, where Brazilian gold helped fund ornate churches, mansions, and a lavish new opera house. Around 9:40 in the morning, violent shaking struck Lisbon and quickly turned ceremony into panic. Modern estimates place the earthquake in the high magnitude 8 range, with the source in the Atlantic southwest of Portugal. Witnesses reported several minutes of destruction, long enough for major masonry buildings to crack, tilt, and collapse. Churches were especially deadly that morning because many worshippers were inside when walls and roofs gave way. Public buildings and roughly 12,000 dwellings were destroyed or badly damaged in the catastrophe. Some accounts describe fissures opening in the city center as streets broke apart under the force of the quake. As buildings fell, survivors rushed toward open spaces and especially toward the riverfront, believing the docks might be safer. The shaking likely came in multiple strong pulses, which made escape even harder and prolonged the terror. At the quays, thousands gathered in confusion, trying to understand what had happened to their city. Then the water withdrew, exposing mud, wreckage, and even ship remains that had been hidden below the river's surface. To many witnesses, the retreat of the sea looked like a miracle or a warning, but it was the sign of a coming tsunami. The tsunami reached Lisbon roughly 60 to 90 minutes after the earthquake, flooding the lower city. Estimates for wave height in Lisbon are about 5 to 6 meters, enough to devastate the riverside. The riverfront became a death trap, and many who had escaped the quake were swept away by the water. The tsunami also struck far beyond Lisbon, with major effects reported in southern Spain, Morocco, and across the Atlantic. In Lisbon, the earthquake and the tsunami were only part of the disaster, because fire was already beginning to spread. Candles, household stoves, and other ignition sources helped turn a shattered city into a burning one. Fires merged into a wider urban blaze that burned through Lisbon for about 6 days after the earthquake. In the old dense quarters, narrow streets and heavy timber made the spread of fire even harder to stop. By night, Lisbon's skyline had changed from towers and domes to smoke, flame, and ruins. The royal family survived because they were away from the worst destruction in Belém that holiday. Belém was less devastated partly because it lay on the edge of the city, where palaces and farms stood farther apart. At dawn, much of central Lisbon lay in ruins, and survivors faced a city broken by stone, water, and fire. Contemporary and later estimates of the death toll vary widely, which is why historians use careful ranges rather than a single exact number. One leading figure in the response was Sebastião José de Carvalho e Melo, who pushed to restore order and rebuild. The Portuguese state also gathered information about damage across the kingdom, a response often linked to early modern seismology. The earthquake later became famous as one of the first disasters studied scientifically over a wide region. The disaster also shook European thought because people asked how such destruction could strike on a holy day. Rebuilding plans favored wider, straighter streets and a more ordered city center than the one that had burned. The new downtown, later called Pombaline, Lisbon, reflected Enlightenment ideas about order, utility, and resilience. Builders also developed the Gaiola Pombalina, an internal wooden cage-like frame intended to improve earthquake resistance. According to tradition, the new structure was even tested by marching soldiers to imitate seismic motion. The reconstruction also modernized basic infrastructure, including sewage and water supply in the rebuilt city. The old Lisbon of crowded medieval lanes did not disappear entirely, but the rebuilt center became a different kind of capital. Today, the waterfront near Rua Augusta still marks an area that the 1755 tsunami is believed to have flooded. For historians and seismologists, Lisbon remains a case study in cascading disaster, where earthquake, tsunami, and fire struck in sequence. The Great Lisbon earthquake was not just a single moment of destruction, but a turning point in science, urban planning, and memory.